Hello there, very good afternoon to all our viewers. You are watching Lunchtime News on TV1. We are coming to you live and direct from our latest studio complex, Studio R, located here at Braybrook Place, Colombo. I'm Tarush Kumar Singha. Just before we start off, let's take a look at your headlines this afternoon. Finance Minister presents a vote on account worth 1,474 billion rupees. Lanka Sumathipala appointed as a member of the COPE. Pujit Jayasundara and Hemasri Fernando further remanded. On your top story this afternoon, Lanka Sumathipala has been appointed as a member of the Committee on Public Enterprises following the demise of Chandrasiri Gajadhira. To fill the vacancy at the Committee on Public Enterprises following the demise of Chandrasiri Gajadhira, under the Standing Order 127.3, Parliamentary Select Committee has appointed Lanka Sumathipala as a member of the committee.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ස්ථාවර නියෝග 123 හි විධිවිධාන ප්‍රකාරව 2019 මොකද පුතා පොයින්ට් වරි මම රත්නය කර මන්තුමා
ගරු නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායකතුමනි තිලංග සුමතිපාල මහතාට විරුද්ධව දැනට කෝප්කාරක සභාවේ පරීක්ෂණයක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
Following the statement made by the Deputy Speaker, JVP raised objection over naming Lanka Sumathipala as a member of the COPE. Taking a look at more of your headline making news now. A vote on account for the first 4 months of the year 2020 was presented in Parliament today by Minister of Finance Mangala Samaraweera. The vote on account was presented to come in effect from the 1st of January 2020 until the 30th of April 2020. The value of the vote on account is 1,474 billion rupees. The vote on account was presented today as a budget document, will not be put forward at the end of the year as a result of the presidential election taking place. The limit of obtaining debt during that period will be 721 billion rupees. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe appeared before the Presidential Commission appointed to probe fraud and corruption at state institutions over the past 4 years earlier today. According to our correspondent, the Prime Minister had arrived at the Commission around 10:30 this morning. The Prime Minister arrived at the Commission to provide evidence regarding the incident where paddy had been stored at the Mattala airport. The probe is being conducted since the storing of paddy had damaged the property of the Mattala airport. Minister Daya Gamage also appeared at the Commission on an earlier date to provide evidence regarding this incident. Headline making news now. Former Defence Secretary Hemasri Fernando and IGP Pujit Jayasundara, who is on compulsory leave, have been remanded until July 6th. The duo, who were in remand custody over the investigations pertaining to the April 21st attacks, was granted bail by the Colombo Chief Magistrate on the 9th of June. The Colombo Chief High Court Judge Vikum Kaluarachi set aside the bail order on the 9th of this month. The High Court determined that the bail order had certain legal anomalies and therefore was not in accordance with the law. The presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, SAJITH PREMADASA, attended another public rally in NATHTHANDIYA yesterday. The rally was organized by the NATHTHANDIYA main organizer, Chitral Fernando. When the prices of essential items are compared, the prices in 2019 are lesser than prices in 2014. So why are the people distressed even when the prices are low? The reason is because the rupee has depreciated against the dollar. I understand the problems of the people. As a politician, I have always been on the side of the people. When the powers of the president is vested with me on the 16th, I promise that we will start an era that solves the problems of the people. I promise you that I will be a very humble president. We will begin an era where the people can peacefully live through a strengthened economy and a society.
ජීවත් වීමේ යුගය අපි ආරම්භ කරනවා කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. සිදු නමකින් මිනිසුන් අතරේ නිදහස් යුගයක සැනසුම පැතිරේ මගේ රට ආයෙත් අවදි වුණා.
Another rally of the New Democratic Front in Katunayaka was held under the auspices of its presidential candidate SAJITH PREMADASA.
එකරමුණකින් මේ මිහිතලයේ රටම එකට එක් වනාද දිනයේ සිව්සිය දහසින් හදවත් බැඳුනා.
හිතාදර මිත්‍රවරුනි මම ඔබතුමාලට කියන්න කැමතියි.
I ask you to elect SAJITH PREMADASA without any fear despite all the differences. PREMADASA's son will take over the responsibility of everyone's future. I want to create a society with enough of wealth. We will create an economy that will help you save money. We will build industries and resolve the issue of youth unemployment. We will change the tax system and free the people from all burdens.
සැහැල්ලු කරනවාමයි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
Now, with very limited time remaining for the presidential polls, the political arena is certainly heating up. Against that backdrop, presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna attended a public rally in Ambalangoda yesterday. The rally was held at the William De Silva grounds in Kahatapitiya, Ambalangoda. Leader of the SLPP, Mahinda Rajapaksa, also attended the rally.
Mahinda Rajapaksa ended the war and brought forth an era of development the country had not seen before. However, all the development projects we initiated were stopped by this government. About 400,000 people who were part of these projects lost their jobs. This is the reason why our economy started to crumble. We always accepted challenges and won. I will assure you, we will win all the challenges that are ahead of us as well. I was given the post of Prime Minister for 51 days. As soon as this government came into power, they removed the fertilizer subsidy. Within the first week of my time in office as the Prime Minister, I reduced the price of fertilizer to 350 rupees. Ranil Wickremesinghe went to Kurunegala and claimed he would create an industrial zone for Kurunegala to Hambantota. He then went to Kankasanture and said he would create another industrial zone from KKS to Dondra. I'm assuming people are driving around the Volkswagen cars that were built in those industrial zones. Ranil is the only leader in the world who converted an airport into a paddy storage facility. And the candidates from his party assisted him. Because he was the minister in charge of the area, Ranil stored the paddy there based on recommendations from him.
The Department of Railways claims several compartments of the Meenagaya train which were delayed have been re-railed.
The General Manager of Railways, Dilantha Fernando, said operations are still underway to clear out the compartments which have derailed and added the operation would end by this evening. The General Manager said until such time the derailed compartments are re-railed, train travel along the Trincomalee-Batticaloa railway line will be halted. The Meenagaya train derailed day before yesterday at around 11 p.m. in close proximity to the Aukana sub-railway station along the Colombo-Batticaloa railway line. The railway control room said the incident had occurred as a result of a technical malfunction.
Update this afternoon. Showers or thunder showers will occur in western and Sabaragamu provinces and in Galle, Matara, Jaffna, Mannar and Putlam districts. According to the Department of Meteorology, fairly heavy falls, about 75 millimeters, can be expected at some places in western, central, Sabaragamu and Uva provinces and in Putlam district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in eastern, Uva and north central provinces during the morning. Latest from the Brexit debacle now, the UK Premier will push for a general election if the European Union proposes to delay Brexit until January.
Can I say, first of all, on the...
Boris Johnson paused his Brexit bill yesterday after MPs rejected his plan to get it signed off in 3 days. Now EU leaders will consider whether to grant a delay to the 31st of October Brexit deadline and what length it would be. A letter Johnson was forced by law to send to the bloc after failing to secure backing for his deal on Saturday calls for a 3-month extension. But a Downing Street source suggested the Prime Minister would not accept such a lengthy extension. The source said, quote, on Saturday Parliament asked for a delay until January and today Parliament blew its last chance, unquote. If Parliament's delay is agreed by Brussels, then the only way the country can move on is with an election. This Parliament is broken, unquote.
Your decision, Mr. Speaker. I don't think either of us particularly mind.
Students and workers have continued to take to the streets this week in Santiago and other parts of Chile in major protests and planned union strikes against economic inequality in the South American country.
The demonstrations began on the 14th of October when crowds of students refused to pay the recent metro fare increase by storming various stations and jumping over the turnstiles in Chile's capital city. By Friday, what had been largely peaceful protests gave way to bouts of violence, destruction and looting, in which at least 15 people have died. Demonstrators say the troop presence on the streets triggers painful memories of the country's 17-year military dictatorship that ended in 1990. Thousands of Chileans were imprisoned, tortured or killed by General Augusto Pinochet's regime. Meanwhile, as violent protests in Chile reached a death toll of 15 people and the arrest of 2,600 civilians, an emotional embrace in Santiago between a protester and a police officer turned viral on social media as a sign of peace and hope on Monday.
Meanwhile, Facebook chief executive Mark Zuckerberg plans to acknowledge before Congress that Facebook is not the, quote, ideal messenger, unquote, for its Libra cryptocurrency project, given ongoing criticism of the company.
In prepared testimony, Zuckerberg plans to tell lawmakers he supports delaying Libra's launch, currently set for mid-2020 until US regulatory concerns are fully addressed. And he will add that the Libra digital currency is intended to facilitate money transfers, not to compete with sovereign currencies or impact monetary policy.
On to a moving story from the international arena now. For days, people have gathered in the central squares of cities across Lebanon. They've chanted, they've sung, they've carried signs.
The government took notice and announced a raft of changes. No new taxes, half in government official salaries, privatizing the telecom industry because cell phones plans in the country are so expensive, fast-tracking licenses for new power plants as there are daily electricity cuts in most Lebanese cities. If the government had hoped that the plans they announced would get the protesters to go home, it didn't work. Instead, protesters continued to demand their Prime Minister Saad Hariri resign. Meanwhile, protesters in Lebanon shared a sweet moment with a surprised toddler on Saturday at a time when the country had been rocked by a historic wave of dissent. Elaine Jabot, baby Robin's mother, told she asked the protesters to quieten down after he had woke up a bit confused from the loud noise and the many people around him. Upon understanding Jabot had a small child beside her, the protesters spontaneously broke into the popular children's song Baby Shark, singing and dancing around the car.
Now, the logo for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games has been unveiled, but it was received with both praise and mockery on social media.
The new design at once depicts the Olympic flames within a gold medal and the hair and the lips of Marianne, the personification of the French Republic since the 1789 revolution. Organizers say the logo brings together iconic symbols of the sport, the Olympics and France. But some joked that it would be better suited to a dating site or hair salon. The logo, which will be for the first time be used for both the Olympics and Paralympics, took a year and a half to be created and was first unveiled in Paris.
And with that, it's a wrap of Lunchtime News for today. For more news, log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. I'm Tarush Kumar Singha. Your latest news update will come your way at 1:55. Until then, take care.